I had an extravagant party that I was hosting for my son's school, and Mr. Wilcox here threw away all my seafood that I had in the
All
refrigerator.
right, let's back up a little bit and tell me about your relationship with your father-in-law.
I wish it could be better. However, it's not the best due to him not having any respect for me, for my household, for me as a woman, as a mother, as a wife. And
why do you think that is? What has he done that has made you feel that way?
it just feels like a very belittling relationship. He's always comparing me to his wife, who is no longer present with us. He's always, it seems to be, excluding me out of activities that he plans with my husband and our children. And I feel like he tries to ask me at the last minute just so that I don't have time to go, because he knows I'm busy, but he doesn't really want me there.
That's
right.
not true.
Have you ever talked to your husband about that?
Yeah, he said he didn't want to get in the middle of it.
Now, I understand that, but if he doesn't want to get in the middle, then he has to get in the middle. That's exactly what, when he has two people he loves that aren't getting along, then the way he stops that is by getting in the middle and getting everybody to come on the same page here. We're a family. All right, so go ahead. What happens? Give me an example of a time that you believe that he has, disrespected your parenting.
Well, he watches our kids pretty often. He just seems very judgmental of how the house is. He'll make comments like, "Oh, it just seems like no one's cleaning up around here. Son, what type of woman do you have?
Son, what type of woman do you have?
Yes.
In front of you?
Well,
and your husband says nothing?
The next room. He kind of says like, "Dad, come on, Dad," but he doesn't stand up to his dad because his dad is very toxic and stern and military background. So he's just always like trying to respect him. And
why don't you get another babysitter?
Because
it's really hard, right?
Come on, I'm suing him for $400 seafood.
Okay, let's talk about that. So there was an incident before your party that you got very upset about. Tell me about that.
Well, I had come home one day, my husband and I, and my father-in-law was watching our son, and I walked in, and he had spanked him. Did you walk in on him spanking your son? Well, I walked in, and he was striking him.
Yeah, okay.
So that really upset me because I don't hit my children. I don't abuse them. I believe in gentle parenting. I believe in talking and talking things through. And he didn't, he had no regard to acknowledging that I was upset. He just took it up with my husband as if I wasn't even present, and that he didn't even care that I'm upset, and I'm sitting here telling my husband and my son and trying to console him. And at the end, I felt like it was just the worst and the wrong thing to do without my permission, because I don't raise my children that way.
So what'd you tell him?
I told him don't he ever put his hands on my children again, and I took my son and we just went into the next room. All
right, and then did you see each other after that, or there was like a chilly, hold on a second, I'll get to you in a moment, separation?
He's always there.
Okay, so
you would think he lives there.
All right, so then what happened? So you're setting up this party, and your husband and you decide that you're going to hire someone to clean the house.
Well, because I had told my husband that my seafood ticket was about $400, he was like, well, let's not hire a cleaner. Like I said, his dad has military background, and he suffers from like PTSD, OCD or something. I don't know. He just has a cleaning problem. And he's like, let my father do it. And I'm like, well, I guess. And I went.
It's a bad idea.
It's not a bad idea.
In other words, you want boundaries, but then you also want. Here's a problem. Sometimes you got to call it. You got to decide what's better: free childcare and the grandfather always there, or you setting the boundaries down. If your husband won't. And I understand everybody, including your husband. So you decide, yeah, that'll be great. He's going to clean the house. And then you send him a text with instructions on what to do. Yes. And then you get to the house on the night of the party, and you're ready to do, you had bought what? Like raw seafood that you were going to cook?
So to me, it sounds like she wants to have a cake and eat it as well. So here we have this father-in-law who is helping them out for free, who's babysitting, who's doing house chores, whatever you please. And she and her husband work full-time. They have two beautiful children, and from what it sounds like, she doesn't want any opinion from her father-in-law on how to run her house or raise her children. And to me, it's a bit imbalanced. It's either or. You either have free help from your father-in-law and a tiny bit of piece of advice that comes with it. At the same time, if you don't want any of that, if you don't want anyone criticizing your ways, then maybe pay for help and have someone come over just to watch your children. Then you give them their paycheck and they quietly leave your premises. So here's something to think about, right? At the same time, him throwing away the seafood situation, and we all know the worst food poisoning comes from spoiled seafood. And if it started to smell like fish, we know it went bad. Did he have a right to throw it away? I don't think so per se. I can see why he decided just to help them out of the goodness of his heart. And that's what I think was happening. He was just genuinely tried to help. But maybe overstepping his boundaries a tiny bit. He should have informed them that, according to his opinion, the seafood went bad and maybe they should not be serving it during the party that's coming up. What did you guys think? Let's go back.
I have my evidence here. I have the text message, and then on my menu, I have salmon cutlets, caviar and crackers, cocktail shrimp, baked brie and bread, prosciutto, and salami.
All right. And according to you, you came home, and what was missing?
All of it. I opened the refrigerator, and nothing's there.
And so?
And so I go into the room where he was finishing cleaning up, and I'm like, where's the seafood at? And he proceeds to say, oh, that seafood that smelled bad, it was raw. I wanted to make sure you didn't serve it to your guests. And
he threw it out?
He threw it away. And here I am. It's 6:30. My party starts at 8.
So what'd you do?
I ended up having to go buy food from the local deli, which I have the receipt here, and from one menu of caviar to a menu of deli finger sandwiches.
Mr. Wilcox,
yes,
what
ma'am.
happened here?
I just want to say that my daughter-in-law is just dramatic. She over-dramatizes everything. And I take offense to the word strike. A strike is like in baseball or a third strike in a criminal justice. This is not a strike if I spank my grandson on the bottom.
But you
Okay,
hit
but let me,
him.
hold on. Okay, now it's my turn. I'm going to take care of this. I've been taking care of it for 30-something years without your assistance. So don't talk to him now because you're not in your living room. Now you're in my living room. All right.
Yes, sir.
I have a question for you.
Yes,
Do you
ma'am.
go around spanking everybody's kid?
No, this is a moment.
This is not your listen, you're a grandparent. You
Yes.
don't have the right to do something that the parents have not given you the right to do.
But this was in a situation where in the future it could have caused a bigger problem
Okay,
for
you're
my
trying to
grandson.
persuade me, and you're never going to,
Yes.
that spanking is a good form of punishment. I don't begrudge you, and the law doesn't begrudge you
Right.
the opportunity for you to discipline
Yes.
your children unless it is tantamount to child abuse, all right, which is illegal. I am telling you right now, you don't have any rights when it comes to your grandkids for you to decide how it is that you're going to discipline them. What is it he had done?
He was going, pretty berserk and wild in the house, throwing things about. And when I went to grab at him, he bit my hand. So it was just an instance where I wanted to teach my grandson.
Yeah, I understand,
that
but it's not your.
just
Do you
get the right
understand
people.
now that it's not your prerogative to decide whether to do that?
It may not, but however,
And he's only
we are
seven.
built,
Ma'am.
we are built on rules and discipline, and this is the reason why we're
Mr.
successful in this
Wilcox,
country.
this is not your child.
Fair enough.
Don't do that again. What did your son tell you when that happened?
He didn't say much.
Did your son tell you, Dad, don't do that?
Well, he knows that I'm not a overly violent person. I probably only...
I don't care how hard you hit him. If the parents don't, if one of the two parents doesn't want you hitting him, you don't hit. It's not yours to decide. Okay?
Yeah.
So you come over to clean.
Yes.
And you went above and beyond and threw out food that she'd purchased for this event. So you had purchased it how long before?
The day before the
The
party.
day before. So why?
However, when she did give me instructions on cleaning up, I did clean up several rooms, kitchen, dining room. And as I go to the kitchen to clean off the counters, I smell the fish smell coming from the refrigerator. This
Okay,
fish
why don't you ask rather than throwing it out?
Because it just smelled like it was spoiled. I've been around.
Right, why don't you ask and say, hey, this smells terrible. I don't think you should serve this.
I'm just used to taking charge. If I see something that needs to be done, I just take care of it.
She feels that you've been criticizing her skills, ability as a mother, as a wife, as a homemaker. Have you ever criticized her?
Yes, I have.
And what is it you've been criticizing?
Just on her long work hours, lack of attention with the children. She doesn't spend enough time with them, in my opinion.
So the father is a military or ex-military. And just based off of that, I'm assuming he is more traditional when it comes to the way the family operates, the structure within the family. And I can see why he had a problem with her working long hours and not paying enough attention to her children, who are at the age when they actually need their mother. And from what it feels like, the husband was very smart not to get involved in this situation between the father-in-law and the plaintiff, and kind of kept himself out of this, back into the courtroom.
But here's the thing, you can't be an enabler and then complain about the behavior. If you feel like they need to get a realistic dose of what parenting is and you don't want to babysit every Friday, then just say, no, I've got plans this Friday. That's all you got to do.
Fair enough, yes.
Right. And if they're both working, they can afford, a babysitter. So, but I don't understand how you throw out stuff from someone else's refrigerator without consulting them.
I want to point out that I did not throw any baked brie bread or any prosciutto salami. It was only spoiled fish.
Okay, but why would you throw that out without saying, hey, that fish smells terrible, and letting them in their house throw it out if that's what they want to do?
Well, the first thing I thought about is food contamination, food poisoning, who she's serving the food to.
So it's not that you didn't think about it. You actually thought about it and said, oh, man, she's so silly. She's going to serve this poison food, so let me throw it out.
Exactly.
Okay, that's overstepping a boundary that you shouldn't overstep. If you think she won't throw out bad fish, you talk to your son and say, son, you guys can't serve this. This stinks. But at some point, it's their party and not yours.
Yeah, but my son rarely gets involved in any situation that she handles around the house.
I don't know. The more I get to know the two of you, the smarter I think your son is. I was giving him grief before, but now I'm not so sure.
He's toxic.
So I was
don't insult your father-in-law in the courtroom when there was no question posed to you, like I've explained before. Okay, this is crazy. You went out then because of the lack of I take it at some point you did find the prosciutto and the crackers and all that stuff, right?
Yeah, later in the evening.
So you went out and you spent money again at the store, and show me that receipt. And show me the original receipt also. All right. And you're suing for both of these combined, but then he'd be paying... Okay, court is about making you whole, all right? It's that side did me wrong, and I want them to pay for the wrong. It's not about putting, ching ching, let the cash register ring, put me above where I was. If I make him pay for both, then you're in a better position than if he hadn't thrown out the fish, because then you'd have the food for free, right? Which you never anticipated doing. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to look at this and I'm going to say, yeah, he did you wrong. He did. Like if you were the cleaning lady and you took it upon yourself to clean out that refrigerator without permission and throw out something that was purchased the day before, that might be a problem. And you have a very overinflated sense of your role in there where, and it's kind of, you're letting him have it, and your husband's letting him have it because you need him so much. To the point where he's cleaning the house. I mean, that's, figure it out. If you want him to be at length, then keep him more at length. If you want him to be all in the grill, then set the rules and make sure the rules don't get violent. I'll be honest with you. You could be a super hands-on, grandfather in this family and all involved in their stuff and just not throw away the food without permission. You see, like you could still be all around there. It doesn't have to be standoffish and just once a month, but darn, man, have a little respect. This is not your house. I am going to rule in your favor, but in the amount that was thrown out. That would make you whole. $210.03, verdict for the plaintiff. This does not resolve the real problem. You guys have a problem. You have how many children?
2.
You love your children?
Yes.
You love your grandkids?
Yes, I do.
You have got to figure out what the rules are in the house, okay? And you've got to figure out what you've got to do so you can be able to get along with your father-in-law, because trust me, having a relationship with your father-in-law is so in your best interest and in the children's best interest. You know that because you have free child care of someone who loves them, right?
Yeah.
All right, so guys, take a moment in your private lives, the two of you, and figure out how to make it so that this family is a successful, happy, well-adjusted family with mutual respect. Got it? Okay. Good luck, folks.
Thank you.
I agree with Judge Millian. Of course, father-in-law is not responsible for any other additional expenses that she incurred, but he's fully responsible for the seafood that he decided to throw away. I do feel there is a very heavy decision that needs to be made in this family, and it's whether to hire help or actually accept help from the father-in-law. And in that case, then the plaintiff and the father-in-law should learn how to get along for the sake of the children and the husband's peace. At the same time, maybe if she doesn't want any interference in their lives and doesn't want his peace of mind every time he comes about, maybe just hire help and let him be a granddad who comes every once in a while just to spoil the kids and spend time with them and share his wisdom with them. And maybe not to be a full-time nanny and a cleaning person, that from what it sounds like he was. And I know sometimes it's really hard to balance your personal relationship and the help you're getting from your loved ones for free and not get involved and not get emotional about what is going on. But sometimes it's just easier. If the help is what you need, just take yourself out of this and maybe accept some advice. Because he's wiser, he's older, he raised your husband that obviously you consider a good man since you married him. So maybe your father-in-law has some good advice for you that you can implement in your life. What did you guys think about this case? Please put it in the comments below, and thank you for watching.